first in blend out, which I've taught you here, is tax exclusion, and he's got it right. This is what it looks like. It's prorational. And when I spread the gains over a long period of time, maximizing the bracket deduction and the bracket capacities, technically, this is way more efficient.
This is part of the compression that you talked about.
Part of the compression, right? And so we all know it's prorational. Everybody in here understands that. But so I can take this high net worth client that would be above taxable, above the 250 mark, paying Medicare surcharge tax. And if I have qual, non-qual, Roth, if I have a variety of different buckets of assets, and if I'm efficient, probably for a good portion of their lifetime, I should be able to get their taxability below the 250 mark and their income flow above the 250 mark and never pay surcharge tax if I manage the taxes appropriately. And the way I do that is exclusion with non-qual and Roth. Maybe some life insurance cash values. I'm blending all those in. I just want you to see that whether my income flows $1 million, $500,000, 300,000, or I really can do a lot managing these with bigger dollar signs, with bigger zeros. And when I take it out, it also allows that bracket bumping I talked about and results in potentially lower Medicare Part B. Now this is huge for these clients we're talking about, right? Because I can learn to take somebody in a tier 4, not just avoid the Medicare surcharge tax and take them down a notch in their tax bracket, but I can take them from tier 4 to tier 2, a lot of them. Well, it doesn't sound like much, but when you start adding all those things together, we're talking $400 a month in savings and drag against Social Security. And if you use this strategy to control RMDs and delay Social Security, combine all those together, you're talking that's why we're seeing 7-figure differences between baseline and solution yesterday.
Well, the other thing is all the savings today allow you to keep the other stuff that's going to compound more, so you're getting double
You
income.
get double and sometimes triple. By the way, and quadruple, because why? When you do an income annuity as the aspect, you have no fee drag. You don't have to hurdle over the net return to the fee drag. You're closer to nominal returns.
You're into the insurance company's pocket earlier.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
I would, just as an observation, having done these types of distribution plans, one of my most surprising things, although I'm really not surprised after 25 years, is you share this plan with your client CPA. They have no clue about it. They're supposed to be the tax guys, right? And they have no way to engineer a tax solution for their client other than just delay your 401k distribution or your IRA distribution as long as you can.
Yeah, go buy a new car at the end of the year. You got
Right. I mean, that's the equivalent of the advice that they're being given. I just think it's compelling and it's just a
Well, remember Dr. Jock I told you about yesterday? I mean, I had a 2-hour meeting with the CPA the first time and a 4-hour meeting with the CPA the second time just to educate the CPA on should he should know.
But
Right?
then once they're educated, what I've also found is some of them become some of your best
Best,
referrals.
yeah.
and clients.
Yeah. It's just the nature of these. Now, we had a tax practice in our office for 2 years. We had a guy that was CPA with McGladdery for 30. And so we had a cloud-based system where we were doing tax returns for advisor offices all around the country, some big ones in Seattle. So we knew a lot of the tech leaders in Seattle from the tax returns that we were doing. But we had a friendly tax practice that also had a law practice connection where we could just do all these in-house and you didn't have to worry about
That's nice.
the people. No, the guy took another job in northern Iowa and it was told us in October when everybody had picked a seat as to where they're going to do their taxes. I mean, talking about the people that do the seasonal tax work. So we shut the tax practice down at the end of the year. So I'm very disappointed because we've been doing that for a long time and it was amazing. We got it up and running, but anyway, this guy moved on for us. So we may try that again, but we were talking about that at Thrive Use prior. It was pretty cool. We were able to we could support you guys with tax services as well. But we may find somebody, there's a cloud called Cloud-Based Services, a guy that I've known for a long time, that we can pick a CPA that knows our stuff from the cloud, and whether it's in our office or somewhere else, we can get that service. So we may resurrect that idea at some point, I don't know. But having the tax collaboration is important. But y'all understand that these things become possible when you spread that tax gain over a period of time. Yes?
No, I'm just saying you're
Have
right
you-
in front of me. I can't even
Oh, you
see.
can't see.
Sorry. Have you thought about doing a Thrive U for CPAs?
I have. You guys are hungry, right? You come in this door going, and probably because you've either heard about me through Tom Hagen, you've heard about me through some impressionable source. Vince, you've heard about me through somebody. If you just heard Curtis Cloak, you'd never come. Well, that's what CPAs have no influence base to put me to, so it's just another name and everybody has an idea, right? So I haven't risked myself to try that, but maybe someday. Maybe CPAs with their advisor who are already sold out to the ideas would be a great solution for us to do as a conference.
Or what if we do an MCLE, I'm sorry, whatever, the CE credits
The
of
C
CPAs?
credits, yeah.
That the CPAs
Yeah,
get?
so I've been asked to do those C credits for CPAs. I've actually supervised and signed off on those CPQ credits for CPAs for other guys who are doing it. I just haven't done it yet. But I certainly would be open to doing that thing. As well as, I do the client events that we've had several of you guys say, you do client events like Tommy does? Yep. And promise you, we will not talk about product that night if I'm your guy. I promise you that you will get a lot of responses for appointments, and you have a lot of chance to pitch a close. Because these people, when you talk about what keeps them up at night, what they're afraid about, they want to see you. When all you can do is talk to them about products they got to have, they probably care less about seeing you, even though you can be really entertaining for a night. So I don't know what you think about that, but I would tell you that we've worked with organizations that have both of us, and what I'm being told is the convergence to appointments and close was more than double the contrast between somebody entertaining and just pitching product versus somebody in there talking about fears and risks. And so if you guys want to try that, and usually it's a speaker's fee. And we sign an agreement ahead of time so that you're confident, this is for you, not for me, that obviously I'm an advisor. You could see me as a competitor, but we sign an agreement that if any of your clients, because it's easy, once they know my name, they Google my name and they can find me, right? Well, we just sign an agreement that anybody from your event contacts our office, we just tip them back to you. If you want to use us, that's your call. But we will not cannibalize your client if you hire us as a speaker event. We just won't do it. And it's happened. We had it happen at Peachtree. I had 3 or 4 people call me, from the Peachtree event, and I pitched them right back to their advisor. So we promise you that. You don't have to worry about my integrity there. All right, let's move on. And there's that 3.8%. This is what the pro-rational course looks like. Let's talk just about the QLAC for a second. It's pretty simple. We kind of highlights 25%. Not to exceed now with the index 130, so we said 125, it's now 130. And the limitations will apply separately for each spouse. So usually we can do 2 times that number if both spouses have qualified. In fact, sometimes you can manipulate, if you've got a little time, how you tip qualified contributions to the spouses if you want to take advantage of the QLAC both. But my recommendation is to take the QLAC early, not like get that accrual factor in that QLAC is a long ways out. By the way, I want to tell you something. We were the first to do small chunks of IRA DIA contracts. And the reason we did that was because one of the companies we did DIAs with allowed us to do a DIA IRA, and after it was a DIA IRA, convert it to a Roth. Okay? That company sold out and that DIA is gone now, but we learned how to do that. And what I realized was that in the regulations, the QLAC can also be converted to a Roth if you create somewhere 1 year of unique low tax bracket where you don't just have to sell up that's going to be taxable when that high distribution comes eventually. The problem is the administration capability of the insurance manufacturer. Well, I was with Mark Irie in D.C., and I brought this topic up. And he, first of all, never thought of it. He looked at the regs, because he's the guy at the Treasury. He called me back the next day, and he goes, it's absolutely okay with the IRS. There's nothing that prohibits it. The only thing that will prohibit it is the insurance manufacturer.
Why would you want to convert the QLAC versus...
I've converted everything.
Oh, you've already converted.
I'm done.
Okay.
That's all I got left. and I want to convert it, and I got a long time, it's 85, right? Now I'm going to have that income come in, it's tax-free. So the objection of many CPAs is all you're doing is kicking the can down the road. Well, maybe, but maybe I have a huge loss here. You know, maybe I have a life insurance policy that blows up. And so what if? So one of the things that we're going to work on over the course of the next 5 years is work with insurance manufacturers that do QLAC to educate them that it's legal, it's possible, and to actually build the QLAC with the administration capability of converting it just like they do any other annuity. It'd be great if Guardian would be maybe the first out of the gate, by the way.
Right.
Make the note. But so now, so what I'm doing on purpose, as long as it doesn't cost significantly, you know, from breakpoints of purchases, I'm recommending that we break the purchase of the 125 or the 130 into maybe 4 or 5 chunks. Why? Because I want that present value that would be used as the taxable portion to be within the realm of what may be possible given my bracket capacity to convert if I had an opportunity. And I want those in smaller chunks to give myself the option of being able to chunk those out in smaller denominators than one big one. Are you with me?
Right, but if you're trying to squeeze it into a Roth, you may only have one shot in like a bad business year where you take a bigger loss. I mean,
But so you convert them all at the same time. But at least I've given myself some flexibility. What it might do is cost me.
You're still gonna have to pay the taxes and everything, right?
No, but I can do two of the tranches and leave 3 of them as QLACs.
Okay.
Well, they're still going to be QLACs, but they're going to be a Roth QLAC.
Right,
Yeah, but I'm only doing 1/3. So here's what happened. When I had those IRA DIAs and I converted them, something really crazy happened. Do you understand there's an accrual benefit to these IRA DIAs? These were period certain, by the way, okay? When I converted them, I did one the second year, and I did them for 5 years. I had them laddered out, I had 5 different ones. And when I converted them, the value they reported to the IRS was the deposit amount,
Not the growth.
not the growth.
Hmm.
Second one was the deposit amount. Third one was the deposit amount. Fourth one was the deposit amount. And I go, oh my God, I'm getting a discount on the tax. So I bought, this isn't anything you want to go here with your clients, but I buy secondary structure settlements in my IRA. Plenty of lawsuits. I got 5 or 6 of them. So does Tom, by the way. And I bought New York Life one. It has a 7.3 IRR. And it's already paying. See, when you have a structured settlement in your IRA and the payment's commencement date begins before 59.5, it's like a dividend or interest payment back to your IRA. It's not a distribution from the IRA. So having commencement dates, it's just a cash flow event that now you reinvest money, right? But if you have a DIA, it's a qualified DIA, you have no choice but to take the distribution if it's a manufactured retail product. But so you can do a few different things with these structures. Well, I bought one that I picked $78,000 and I did it in 2011. It was AIG. And in 2010, I did it. No, 2009. 2010 is when I converted it. Because I could see that I was getting ready to have some big years. And I thought, I'm going to use this tax bracket period to convert that thing. So 78,000 doesn't start till I'm 70. Pays for 20 years and it's got like a 5% COLA on it. Pays me $638,000 over the course of the time, dead or alive. It's going to pay back to my heirs if I'm not alive. Okay,
Okay, 9X.
it's pretty serious stuff, right? I converted that 2009, 2010, and I hired a specialty firm to value it because it was so far out and it was illiquid. My hypothesis was if I had somebody value it, present value would be less than I paid for it. They valued it $10,000 less than I paid for it 2 years later, even though the accrual factor was a much higher denominator. And I got a $68,000 valuation for my conversion to Roth, and $638,000 will be paid to me tax-free. So I want you to see, and these are all just things that come by accident. Just, wow, if that works, this must work. Wow. So I keep testing things on myself.
It's interesting because, like, if you think about a QLAC, if you would have bought it or, you know, established a QLAC early on, if they really do give you the conversion and what your cost was, obviously, if you die along the way, you're gonna get your value back, right? That's
Yeah.
all it's gonna be.
Yeah, 'cause
that's,
you're doing
what,
a cap-
that's what they're gonna give you, right? Cause it's a deal, they're just
That's
gonna
right.
do that, so that is the value of it. But if you deferred it for 15 years, think of what the embedded gain on that actually
Tax-free,
is.
yeah.
That you're gonna get tax-free, that you can go back 15 years, let's say, if you deferred it for that long. You can go back in and use that as the basis to do the conversion.
So I want to bend your mind again, not on something you can really apply today, because no manufacturer on a QLAC allows the conversion, not because they can, but because they don't have administration capability keeping track of it. That's it. It's the only reason they're not. And it's because nobody has stretched their mind even though they should. It's my job, right? But it's nothing, as long as it doesn't cost the client anything, why wouldn't we create flexibility in our planning and tee that up just in case? Who do you think is thinking like that? And so now we're talking about in the future. It's huge. And to our point, there's all kinds of advantages to that, tremendous advantages to it. What if in fact we do have that one life policy that blows up, that we don't need anymore, and we want to recover the basis and we want to book the loss and not take it another way? That would give us that big opportunity for the big conversion. Okay? So, just layering on another
You would have
idea.
thought under the fiduciary rule that that would almost have to be a requirement to allow that, right? I mean, best interest of the client, you would almost think that they would be on that, but I'm sure it's one of a million things.
Well, Doug Dubinsky seems to care about what I say and think sometimes, so I'm definitely planning to talk to Doug about that.
Could you go back and give us that 2 minute on that piece you just said on the life insurance blowing up?
So, you know, if you have a current interest rate UL contract, or even I suppose it's possible in IUL where it wasn't funded properly, where, you know, you've got a lot of basis in there and the policy's blowing up. If you 1035 exchange that into an annuity contract, you can, and I warned you that, though there has to be an audit for this to be a risk, that if you set up a brand new annuity for the purposes of booking the loss, that's one clearly stated in all the writings that I read that would cause possibly the IRS to negate booking the loss. But if you can 1035 it together with an annuity contract that initially was bought for a gain, which is an important distinction, there's almost no way that the IRS can argue that that ordinary income loss isn't an ordinary income loss that should go on the front top side of your tax return. You risk AMT when you take that ordinary loss. But if you use that ordinary loss as an offset to do Roth conversions, which could include the QLAC if it were allowed, no AMT taking that wash. So it creates a Roth conversion event to utilize that ordinary loss, not booking it against income. And you avoid AMT.
So would you have to have,
But let me check on Gary.
So you set up so you put these two pieces into this one new annuity for growth.
Or an existing
Or an
annuity.
okay. And then you convert that annuity to the Roth, no.
You transfer the life into the annuity, so the cash comes in, which is very little.
Right.
The basis comes in, which is very high. It now has the complexion of the basis of the life and the annuity together, the cash of the life and the annuity together. If it's a life insurance that you're moving to that annuity, I think you have to wait a year and a day. If it's an annuity that you're doing, annuity, it's 181 days under the 2008 rate. So let's just be safe here and just embed the idea of a year and a day, okay? I now surrender the annuity. I'm booking an ordinary loss. Now, are you going to get a 1099 that says you had a loss? You know, you got to read through the 1099. 1099 is going to say what the gross distribution was and what percentage of that annuity was distributed. It's going to be the gross distribution, which whatever it is, and it's 100%. What was the basis is another block in line. It's going to tell you what the basis is, and that basis is going to be skewed based upon the basis that was reported in on the life insurance and the basis originally on the original annuity. Are you with me? You give that 1099 to your tax guy, and the difference between those two is what he puts on the top line is an ordinary income loss. So because it's ordinary and not capital gains, there's no $3,000 limit. It's against taxable income. They got to make sure you have enough taxable income. Well, there's an easy way to do that. Roth convert your IRAs. And you've instantly washed it out. Are you with me now?
Yep.
Okay? Does it? All right. You have to start payments by 72, as no later than 85. You can put a cost of living adjustment on these. It's subject to the carrier. Some do, some don't. You can't cash surrender it. There is no, see, a lot of these income annuities, we didn't talk about this yesterday. A lot of these income annuities have something called a commutation rider. Anybody know what a commutation rider is?
That means you can get your money back.
Yeah. I wonder what happened to her. Oh, he was here this morning. I was hoping he would chime in on this discussion from the annuity shop over there. But a commutation rider is like being able to surrender. It's like, oh God, I put too much money into the income annuity. I wish I had some of it back. This commutation rider actually lets you do that. So there's a surrender ability, a liquidable ability besides the income flow itself from the commencement date that lets you yank dollars back out. However, all commutation riders have a formula. It's like an MVA adjustment. If I were to buy a block of bonds and I were to, for a 5 or 10 year term, and I were to go to the bond issuer and say, I want to sell some of those bonds out short, they have to go to the secondary market and they have to sell them for whatever they can sell them for, right? Because you're demanding it. Is there a cost to that? Is there a premium to that? Well, that's exactly what the insurance manufacturer is doing when they give you a commutation rider. Is they're buying bonds in their portfolio to match the obligation for that income annuity. But they're giving you the right to demand a commutation benefit out of the contract subject to limits. And you're forcing them to sell some of that position that they purchased to match the obligation, so it is relevant what the interest rates were the day you bought it and the interest rates the day you're asking for the portion of commutation. And it's going to be a surrender charge. It's a fancy way of saying there's going to be a surrender cost to do that.
For the, really, in essence, a partial surrender, right?
Partial surrender. We did a case study though where we actually tried to monetize it. It's impossible to do on all these contracts because the formulas, you never know what they're going to be until you ask for it, right? But we actually could see that technically you had quite a bit of liquidity. When you looked at the amount of liquidity in these commutation riders, when people tried to argue it's irrevocable and you don't have control, more than 50% of these products today have commutation riders. Nobody's talking about it.
But liquidity, but at what cost?
But sometimes just knowing that you can, I've never had anybody use them, ever. But I've had to talk about them a lot. And when you don't take something away from somebody because they're worried about the need, but you also have all kinds of cash over here on the other side, they just need to know they can, and they never will.
Well, they want a worst case scenario just in case.
That's right, yes.
I was wondering, and you probably run into this, not great to study it, but Integrity Life
Yep.
has this commutation rider.
Yep.
I don't know if they all work this way, but you can.
It's the one I'm talking about.
You can, and the cool thing is that, let's say it's a 10-year certain, you can pull it out, and then at the end of the 10 years, the annuity starts up again. So you can pull the money.
90% of it.
You
Yeah,
can
this is
pull
limited.
90 You can pull 90%,
89%.
but in essence, the way it sounded to me, which was wild, was you can put money in, have it start, and you're getting the payout on this BIA, and then you commute up the value, and then you pull it, what you haven't taken back to your 10-year certain. So you've got the cash back, and
But it's going to be a limited amount of cash with cost.
and then, but if you live past the 10-year certain, then the annuity starts again, and you still have that other cash that you had, which could create another asset value.
Yeah, so what he's talking about, first of all, commutation value only applies if I have an installment, cash, refund, or period certain, and only during the time that is alive, okay?
Can you draw that up? Sorry. Like you said, visuals.
Yeah, I don't have a visual for this, so let me try to draw a visual.
I know.
That's the best I can do. So if I buy a lifetime income annuity with a 10-year certain,
Okay.
okay? So when I get to the 121st payment, if I'm monthly,
Okay.
okay, I have no commutation rider anymore.
Got it.
That's on
Yeah, because you're
a
playing.
10-year
You're playing with house
cert.
money.
If I'm an installment of cash refund, and I'm going to make this up, on the 241st payment, I've got all my refund back. 240th payment, I got all my refund back. The 241st payment, I'm past commutation.
Again,
Okay, you get it?
kind of. That's okay. cross
So
it.
once I no longer have a death benefit if I
Right.
die.
There's
that's
nothing
a
left
neg-
over, you've spent all the,
You're now into the mortality credits.
you're playing with house money.
Playing with house money. I have no commutation rider, but while I'm in commutation rider, and what that product is with Integrity, he's talking about, is they will basically say, you gotta keep enough, I think, for $100 a month payment for life.
It'll pay the full value.
No, it
It
won't.
would.
You
It-
misread
They
it.
go
Okay.
broke.
They can't do it.
Yeah, because I was going,
They'll pay you the full value of the calculation, is what they'll pay you.
Yeah, there you
They'll
go.
pay you the full value of the commutation, or the formula. And what they'll do is they'll say, okay, how much do we need to keep of the present value to minimize the $100 payment? And okay, of that, when we discount selling the bonds in the portfolio short, what's left over to send you a commutation value? That's what they're talking about. Are you guys with me now? And we studied that.
It's really like a pro rata now. And
It's just an emotional thing that doesn't mean anything, because nobody's ever gonna do it. But it may be the difference between them hurtling over the decision to do it and not hurtling over the decision to do it emotionally.
Well, because it's all limbic anyways. in the
It's
lizard
right.
brain.
That's right. That's right. Now, here's the problem though. You can